Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 10:33 p.m. on this freezing cold Monday evening going into Tuesday morning. It is currently 28 degrees outside, but it feels much, much colder than that. It is so cold outside, you guys. But something is different with my camera. I'm not really sure if I know what it is. It looks like there's something missing at the top. There's usually like more. I don't know how to explain it to you because you guys can't see it, but I can see there's like the counter, and then there's like the battery next to it, and then it says record to the right, and there seems like there's like something missing. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure we'll find out. I probably pushed a button or did something and messed the camera up. I have no technological skills whatsoever. Forever I've had like this graph on my camera, and I know like it's happened before, and I know how to go in and like take it off, but I couldn't figure it out, and so I just was like, okay, we'll just leave the graph on there. But the graph isn't on there when I record. It's only on there like before I start recording. So I don't know. I must have pushed something, and I don't know what it is, but it's not changing the video, so at least not that I'm aware of yet. All right, I have a huge water with me, and then I also just made coffee. I am trying to get through the Starbucks holiday blend. I think I have like 2 more K-cups of it left. So I didn't really like it when I started it, but I don't dislike it now. It's kind of grown on me. The crazy cups that I really like are very nutty. And so they're like, I mean, really, really nutty. They're like praline chestnut, and the one I had, I think last night was, or maybe the night before, I don't know, was called White Christmas. They're good, but they're just, if you like strong, nutty coffee, it's really, really strong. And so tonight I was like, I have got to have something a little bit different. I actually have all the boxes in the garage, and I've been filling up this drawer that we have. I put some lemon zest tea in there as well, because I have K-cups for that. And when we were on lockdown, I bought tons and tons of K-cups, and we are like halfway through those, and I'm like halfway through the boxes that I bought for the holidays. I really have saved a lot of money by not going to Starbucks every day. And I know I say this in a lot of my videos. I miss the iced coffee in the summer, but I don't miss going through Starbucks every day and spending $5. It is a lot of money. But I do notice that I've been drinking more coffee. Like, this is probably my 3rd cup of coffee for the day. But they're not as big a cup of coffees either. They're kind of small. I thought they said it was like 20 ounces, but there's no way. I think it's 16 ounces. So, Peter, what did you do today? Well, last night, after I got done vlogging, I listened to like an hour and a half of my audiobook. So I only have like 96 minutes left of the Misfortune book. It's really good. I mean, they're all good. They're very similar, all of them, but it's just like the characters in the town and stuff that I love. But it's really good. And then I listened to, I think, 2 more episodes. Or did I just listen to one? One of the episodes of Up and Vanished podcast. I actually looked up the podcast that I was talking about last night about the Kristen Smart case, which I guess anybody could look up if they wanted to, but to see what I was talking about. But it's called In Your Backyard. That was a really, really, really good podcast, you guys. I would highly recommend that one. And also Tom Brown's Body. It was really good. Those are 2 of my favorite podcasts I've listened to so far. I have to say, though, Up and Vanished is probably the best podcast. Well, I don't know. Like, Tom Brown's Body was really good. I really liked it because of like kind of the amateur quality to it, but Up and Vanished is very similar to that. Like, I wouldn't say the guy is like amateurish. I mean, he's a filmographer, but his approach to the investigation is kind of like, I mean, this is what I really enjoy, is like, as it goes, you learn about the case. And in fact, they even kind of address it, because he does these things in between the episodes called case files or something. I don't love these episodes, but he reads voicemails, or you listen to voicemails that people have like left on the voicemail message, and then he responds to it. Sometimes he has this investigator or this Maurice guy that's on it, and one of the questions was, why do you not upload more often? And the Maurice guy answered and said, with a lot of these, and I hadn't really thought of this, with a lot of these true crime podcasts, the cases have already been solved, so they have the entire court documents and everything just sitting right there in front of them. And he was like, this is a different kind of situation. Like, he's investigating this as he goes and is trying to solve this. And I have to say, those are the ones that I find a little bit more interesting. There's some things about this, though, that I don't understand. If you've listened to the Up and Vanished, I'm sure you guys will say, well, he does that later. But, I don't understand why he hasn't called. It's about this Tara Grinstead, who went missing in 2005. She was a school teacher in Ocilla, Georgia. There's, nothing. It's such a cold case. They have no idea what's going on. And I don't really know why he hasn't yet, called the best friends. There was, one friend that he called. But she had 3 really close friends. I don't know why he hasn't called the other 2. I don't know why he hasn't called the stepmother, unless, he usually says in there, I reached out for an interview and they declined. So he hasn't reached, to my knowledge, and I'm on episode 11 or 12, he hasn't reached out, and that's not even counting all of the case files in between there. My nose is driving me crazy tonight from my beard, I think. But he hasn't reached out to the stepmom for an interview yet. I don't know, there's quite a few people that he hasn't reached out to, and I was like, this is interesting to me. And the other thing I don't love about it is that but I think this is kind of to get people interested in it. He'll title the episode The Glove, because there's this glove that's a huge part of this case. He'll title it The Glove, and the podcast episode will be 29 minutes or 26 minutes, and literally the last 2 seconds or last 2 minutes will discuss the glove, and then it'll go into the next podcast, and he'll say, in our next podcast, or in the next podcast, I'll be discussing the glove. And it's a total cliffhanger kind of deal. And I'm like, this podcast is good enough that you don't need to do that, And so anyway, but he doesn't need to do that, because the podcast is really, really good. It stands on its own. He wouldn't have to have any kind of interesting titles to it. He could just call it episode 1, episode 2, whatever. But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of in the next episode, I'm going to do this, and then there's just not, he doesn't discuss it a lot in the next episode, and so it really is 2 episodes later he discusses it, because right now I'm waiting to find out about, well, there was this guy that was posting on the Tara Grinstead Facebook group, and he was saying something about this podcast, and they're like, how does he even know that this was before, he had even started putting the podcast up, and he was like, how does anybody know what this podcast is going to be called, or anything like that? And so they find out who it is that's doing this, but he said, in the next episode, we're going to discuss the identity. At the very end of the episode, they hand him a piece of paper with all of who the person is, and he goes, oh my God, and then he's in the next episode. It's very that, cliffhanger kind of stuff, which I like. That keeps me listening to it. I love that, but it's not necessary, because I would listen to it anyway. It's that good, But then he went into this 40-minute, well, it was a 7-minute case file, and then a 40-minute case file. And the 40-minute case file is so long. He reached out to all these experts and asked them their opinions about things. And I'm just like, oh my God, could you just get to the episode of what's going on? You already know that's what the next episode's going to be about, because you already fed it out, So anyway, but it's good. I'm really into that. And then I came home and I couldn't sleep, so I watched another episode and a half of The McMillions. I don't know how I feel about it yet. Well, it's really good. The McMillions documentary is really, really good. But I don't know how I feel about it as far as like, there's a part of me that kind of feels bad for the people that claim that they were winners, but then, like, because they didn't really get the money and they had to pay all these taxes and stuff, and I don't really know what happened yet with them, because obviously, you know, there's episodes 5 and 6 left, but then I don't feel bad for them either, because they totally knew what was going on. Like, they knew from, like, the word go that it was a scam. They, like, knew that. So they willingly participated in this scam. It's mostly, I feel bad for this one woman that was like a single mother, and she's like, you know, I was working and this opportunity was presented to me, and then she was like, I didn't know how to get out of it, and I was afraid of how to get out of it. It's the Gloria Brown interviews that makes me kind of sad in there, honestly, but I haven't seen what happens with the end of that yet. So that documentary is good. So then I went to bed, and I had such a hard time sleeping, you guys, and I just didn't get like a lot of good rest. So I think because I had all of these like mysteries and true crime and everything going off in my head. So I just laid there and tossed and turned and tossed and turned and tossed and turned. I slept in today, and I got up and I went and did the crumble cookies review after I kind of like did some stuff around the house and started uploading the vlog and all that kind of stuff. I did the crumble cookie review for the first one of the year and the one for this week, and then I came home. Oh, before that, I did a video for my Peter Does Stuff channel. I'm really gonna be trying to upload, I'm really gonna try to upload a lot on that video going forward, or that channel going forward, like every day if I possibly can. I really love that channel. Wednesday, I will be, Wednesday, I'm hopefully going to be showing some stuff I ordered online for 2022. I don't really want to say more about it than that, but it'll make sense when I show the video. But tomorrow, I am going to sit down and show, and some of them I've opened and some of them I haven't. I'm going to show all the things that I was sent for Christmas. I've been meaning to do that, but I want to do it when I have some time so I can actually sit there and I'm not like rushing through it and stuff, you know, stuff. So I want to show all that tomorrow. So yeah, so there's that. And then, what else? I think that's it. I have a lot of stuff going on this week. I have a recovery commitment on Friday. I have my doctor's appointment on Thursday with my neurologist, and then it's just a check-in, and then I have something on Wednesday. I can't remember what it is, because I thought like Wednesday I was going to have this whole day, and then I was like, oh, I have this to do on Wednesday. Do you know what I was just looking at this billboard for McDonald's, and they were showing like breakfast sandwiches. Do you know what I used to love back in the day? Well, Chick-fil-A had really, really good chicken sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches. Well, okay, so when Alex and I were a one-car family, I would take him to work in the morning, I would come home, and I would get 2 chicken breakfast sandwiches with cheese on biscuits, and then I would get 1 or 2 hash browns and a Diet Dr. Pepper. Oh my God, it was so good. And, but McDonald's for a while, they may have them now, I don't know, but they were really good when they had them. They had chicken biscuit breakfast sandwiches, and I would like with cheese. You could get them without cheese, but they had them with cheese. They were so good, and I used to get those too from McDonald's. It's so crazy to me that I've been like a vegetarian for like 4.5 years. It seems surreal to me. I'll tell you what's even more surreal is the people in my life that don't know that I am. I feel like at least once every 2 weeks, like I have a conversation with somebody and they're like, you're a vegetarian? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how long have you been a vegetarian? And I'm like, it was 4 years in August. And they're like, really? How did I not know? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how you didn't know, because I've been over to your house and you've actually like made me vegetarian stuff. Because most of my friends, like if I'm coming over there or something, you know, if like do like a little recovery dinner or whatever, they'll make, you know, something vegetarian for me. Alex's mom has like, she's really nice about that now. Like she always has several things that are vegetarian. Caroline does that too. So, but it does seem crazy to me. God, the gym is packed tonight. 1, 2, 3. There's like 6 or 8 cars at that gym. Everybody's starting on their New Year's resolutions of getting back to the gym. So yeah, so what was I gonna say? I don't know. But that was my day today. Oh no, and then Alex came home, and then I filmed a drama video, and he was helping out with stuff, like he fed the dogs and was helping emptying out the dishwasher and stuff, and I was cleaning up stuff in the kitchen. And then I lit a bunch of candles and got my little space ready over by my computer, and I had my literature group tonight with my girlfriends, and we read, oh, we're reading Drop the Rock. I've talked about that on here, which is about steps 6 and 7. It's considered outside literature, which means that it's not like sanctioned literature by a 12-step program. That we call that outside literature. So tonight we were reading about pride and envy as 2 of the 7 deadly sins, but really in context to character defects, you know, like how pride comes out in our lives, and the difference between like false pride and, you know, humility and gratitude. And it was a really good discussion tonight. It was fun. And then I asked Tanya afterwards if she wanted to get a fountain pop. She said, no, thank you. I said, fountain with a question mark. She said, no, thank you. This is Tanya in the winter. She does not like to go outside. So when she's home, she's home. Which is totally fine. But, and Alex is watching, he's watching some British series on TV. I think it's called Sex Education, he told me. And I don't know what I'm gonna watch when I finish the McMillions thing. I've got to schedule a dental appointment, which I should have had set up already, but it feels, I either have something stuck, which I don't think that's it, because I've brushed my teeth like a million times, but I feel like I chipped my tooth like inside in the very back, just like a little bit. Like, do you ever feel like that? I know that my friend Valerie is listening, and she's like, because she texted me and she's like, have you scheduled your dentist appointment yet? I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I had a bunch of things I had to do today, so I had to call and check about my neurology appointment to see when it was, because I couldn't remember. And then I also was trying to get a hold of somebody at the HOA stuff, because apparently our HOA fees went up. I mean, everybody was talking about it this fall, and I need to send the money, but I can't find out from anybody because nobody goes outside. And our neighbors, I think they just got home tonight. I think they were out of town the last couple days. Their house has been like dark inside. And, but I heard their dog inside, because I said to Alex, I said, well, they're home now. I was just getting settled down to do a drama video, and all of a sudden they like let him out, and he started like howling in the backyard. He's so funny. He's like, oh. I could have texted them, but I think they just got home tonight, so I didn't want to bother them. So yeah, that's my life. Real exciting. Alex was just giving me a hard time about my reading goal. Okay, he goes, what was your reading goal for, or he goes, have you set your reading goal? What did I say? I said, oh, I listened to so much of my audiobook last night. I was telling him about that. And, well, actually, I was, like, doing some dancing because I went outside to my car and I brought back in the crumble cookies because I got him a chocolate chip cookie. And I said, you want a chocolate chip cookie? He was, like, sitting in the chair. I was being very nice to my husband. He said, yeah, sure. So I gave him the chocolate chip cookie, and then he had made frozen burritos. I told y'all he's, like, obsessed with these frozen burritos. So he had made these frozen burritos, and so I took his plate and his fork and put it in the dishwasher and cleaned up for him. Got him more. I said, you want some more water? He said, that would be nice. Thank you. He was just kind of looking at me like, why are you being so nice? And I was doing all these little dances around the living room. And he goes, those were some dance moves. So anyway, I said, I'm going to vlog. He goes, you're going so early? And I said, yeah. I said, because I want to listen to some more of my audiobook. I want to see if I can maybe finish it tonight. And I said, I also want to listen to this podcast. And he was like, oh, okay. And so, because I need to start the true crime book for December so that I can make sure that I get it done in time. My plan was to finish Misfortune book tomorrow, definitely, and then I would have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to listen to the true crime book, and I would make sure that I got it. I mean, 4 days is definitely enough to finish a 10 hour and 44-minute book, I think it is. So he was like, he goes, have you set your goal for 2022 already, your reading goal? And I said, yeah. And he goes, what did you set it for? And I said, 104 books. And he goes, why did you set it for? And this is my husband, who doesn't ever read a book, ever, right? Unless it has to do with work. He goes, why did you only set it for 104 books? And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, well, didn't you read 110 books last year? And I go, yeah. And he goes, so why didn't you set it for more than 110? You already know you can read 110. And I said, no. I said, my goal was 102 last year. I'm not setting myself up for failure. Because, like, my goal was 102 last year, right? But this year it's 104, which, if I stick to 2 books a week, I will meet my goal, okay? But if I read that many more, then I'll just be proud of myself because I'll reach my goal so early, right? I was looking on Goodreads, and, like, I have so many friends on Goodreads. Like, whoever just friend requests me on Goodreads, I always just accept it. So I have so many friends. But anyway, so you just, like, it's like, if you're not on Goodreads, it's like Facebook, but they're all updates about books. Like, a book you want to read, or where you're at in a book, like how many pages you've read, or what percentage of the book you've read or listened to, or a book that you've completed, or it's your reviews. It's all to do with books, which is just so fantastic. I love it. And so, I know something I wanted to talk about from that reading tonight. So, somebody set their goal for 180 books, and I thought, now, if you set your goal for 180 books, that you're probably somebody that reads that much anyway. And I thought, I really need to be up in my game with what I'm reading. Oh my God, you guys, I just realized today's the 3rd. You know what I get tomorrow? My Alice Oseman book comes tomorrow. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. The Alice Oseman next edition, it comes on the 4th. It's supposed to come on the 4th, I think. The next edition of Alice Oseman's Heartbreaker graphic novel series comes tomorrow. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Okay, so there's that tomorrow. Isn't it silly how excited I get about books? No, not really. I have this bookmark that says something like, my world open. I don't know where I got it. It's like just like a plastic, not plastic, but it's like a laminated bookmark. It's big though. It's like this big. I really like it. I don't know where it's at actually. It used to be the bookmark that I would use for everything, but it says, my world just opened, or something, the moment I began reading. And I love that bookmark so much. It's real colorful. It's like blues and reds and greens and yellows and stuff. It's real pretty. But anyway, it's real pretty. So yeah, the Alice Oseman book is coming out tomorrow. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you guys about this reading that we were doing tonight. It was talking about like distractions in our lives and how to like practice against distractions and how to like spiritually cleanse your body and things like that. Now, I don't talk about this much on here, but I am a big believer in fasting and spiritual cleansing. I don't talk about it because I think it's something that you should consult with your doctor about and things like that, right? But I do, I mean, I've probably talked about it on here from time to time, but not very often. I do like a food/spiritual cleanse probably once a month, at least every other month, where just for 24 hours I don't eat, I just drink water, and I just, and I don't like listen to a lot of music, watch a lot of TV. I just, you know, keep my interactions with people, like talk to my husband, talk to Tanya, and then that's about it. And I keep it very small for 24 hours. I've done spiritual fasting, now not all that, but where I haven't eaten and I have focused on prayer and meditation. I've done it for up to, I think, 3 days. And, you know, it's not for everybody. I do think that you need to check with a doctor if you're going to do it. You know, and I have. And, but the clarity that comes with it. So anyway, this book was talking about spiritually cleansing yourself. And one of the things that it talked about that I really, really liked, it was this woman's story in the book that we were reading. And she said something about going to a cabin. Like, she rented this cabin for 2 days or 4 days. I think it was 4 days. And she just went by herself. And she didn't like watch any TV, listen to any music, didn't talk to anybody on the phone. This book was written a while ago, so like social media apps and all that kind of stuff wouldn't, you know, have been around. But and she said, you know, she was just like by herself for 4 days in total silence. Not talk, you don't talk either, you're just by yourself in total silence, right? And she said that something towards the, she didn't do it the whole time, but towards the end she started eating like all vegetarian, like vegetables and plant and the fruit and, you know, other plant-based, but not even just vegetarian like we know it today. I think she meant like just fruits and vegetables. And I was sitting there thinking about that, and I was like, my friend said something, we were talking about it, and I thought, that sounds like really just so ideal that, I mean, I don't know how realistic it is that I could go away for 4 days. I mean, if I wanted to make it happen, I could make it happen, right? 4 days is a long time, I think, but, you know, to go away maybe for 24 hours and just, you know, be by myself in a cabin somewhere, like in Gatlinburg or in southern Tennessee, southern Indiana, like Brown County area, and just rent a cabin for 24 hours and be with nature, you know. I just think, like, I really want to focus a lot of that on like taking more walks outside and being in nature a lot in 2022. Like, that's one of my big goals. You know, when I go to Richie Woods and I walk around and I film and stuff, I, you know, typically try to like walk around afterwards just for a while and like clear my head and just like be focused. And it really helps a lot. I really want to do a lot of spiritual work in 2022 and focus on, you know, just not just reading meditations, you know, on my Peterisms channel, or reading them for myself, or doing prayers and gratitude lists in the morning, but throughout the entire day, you know, taking a 10-minute walk, like putting down the camera and just going outside and just being outside for like a 10-minute walk or something. When I was writing my book, I would do that a lot. Like, I would, you know, take PP outside, and Boo and Tucker would be asleep, and I would take, you know, PP outside, and we would just like walk around and stuff and just look at the stars, and it just was like, I took it all in, you know. I like the idea of that. I might do something like that this year. I don't know that I would do it right now, but I might do something like that this year, where for 24 hours I just disconnect completely. stopped, and I didn't even know that I was close to the end. But doesn't that just sound peaceful, you know? I probably would get scared to death, and I'd hear 9 million sounds, you know? Or maybe not. There's something about the snow that's so peaceful to me. Like, I really wish we would get, like, one big snow, you know, that I could just take, like, a really peaceful, serene walk in it. I love walking through Ritchie Woods when it's, like, snowy outside. It's so pretty. I kind of got away from feeding the birds every day. That was something that I really enjoyed, too. I feel like all of those things really... I need more things in my life that slow my life down, you know? I don't mind silence. It's interesting because, you know, I'm home alone all day by myself with the dogs. And until later in the day, like when I'm like have all my videos filmed, I don't turn on the TV. I don't turn on music unless I'm in a car and I'm driving around and stuff. And then I listen to an audiobook or a podcast or music. Today I was listening to some music earlier. But I don't, or a radio show. I listen to Michelle Collins' show sometimes if I'm up in the morning on Radio Andy, that Bravo, whatever. I don't know if it's a Bravo station or if it's just him, but you know, I'll listen to that. But other than that, like when I'm home by myself, like I'm in silence unless I'm filming for a video. I mean, I may say something to the dogs like, okay guys, got that one done, you know, or something like that. But I'm usually just in silence walking around, you know, and in my head thinking about things. And I think it's important to check myself and make sure that there's a difference between me keeping to myself and being silent and isolating. Like, I can definitely fall towards isolating, you know, and just not interacting with people whatsoever and just being by myself. And, you know, I have to be careful of that, and I have to be, you know, to go out and do things and be around people, because otherwise I can just be completely to myself, and it's just not healthy, you know. So yeah. Oh my Lord. I've been like kind of like adding to my list of like goals and things that I want to do for this year, and I need to sit down and kind of write that out. Like, what are ways that maybe some ideas of some action steps to practice more spiritual serenity. Maybe that's the right word for it. You know, whether that's taking walks or, you know, I remember back in the day, my mom and I used to walk so much together when I was growing up. I mean, not like when I was like 10, but junior high on, we really did. And I mean, we didn't listen to Walkmans or anything like that. You know, when I was walking by myself, sometimes I would maybe, or if I was like doing it for exercise. But I remember I had one of those like yellow Walkmans. I like one of the old school like silver ones too. I think I have them in my basement. I'm sure I do. But I can remember that my mom and I would, you know, we would walk all the way down our street from the cul-de-sac and then turn right after we got down off our street, and then we would walk all the way down to where my elementary school was, and then we would turn right, and then we would walk down there, and then we would walk over the bridge that went over Cool Creek, and we would cross the bridge, and when we got to the other side, we would come back. And my mom and I did that every night. That took like about an hour to do. And just like a nice leisurely walk, you know, we weren't hurrying, we weren't rushed or anything like that. And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm even admitting this. I'm not like a big like loving to walk anywhere, you know, And I mean, that would be like a really great place to start with some exercise, wouldn't it? Is that maybe I could just, this woman, I was like trying to let her in, and then, you need to get over because the lane's about to end. She had enough room. But I'm just like, I don't love, like I used to love walking and taking walks and stuff like that. But I've grown really accustomed to not doing that in the last couple years. So I think that that's one of the things that I really want to start doing again. Even when it's cold outside, taking a walk out, you know, just being active, doing something that's active. You know, and of course with other things. So this car doesn't seem like they know where they're going, or something's going on there. I don't know what that is, but they just like swung across and then like turned on their turn signal. I think winter is a good time to be like contemplative, you know, about things you want to achieve and goals that you want to accomplish. And I think sometimes for me, like I have to have like a silent state of mind to, I mean, what a joke, right? That like I would go 24 hours and not talk to anybody. I mean, I make 6 videos a day, if on a good day, Today I made 4, and I felt like I was like really slowing down today. I wanted to make 6 today, but I only made 4. And, but you know, I make 4 videos and talk to people on the phone, but some days I don't. You know, some days like I might only get 1 or 2 texts, and one of them's like in the middle of the day from Alex, and he'll be like, "How's your day going, babe?" And that's it. You know, and then the next time I get a text is from Tanya at like 6:30, you know, or she usually calls though. Like Tanya and I only text each other like if like I'm showing up to her house and I've like just shown up there and I'm like, I'm here, or like to pick her up for a meeting, or if it's to go get a fountain pop. Like we're not big texters between each other, you know. Like we usually pick up the phone and just like call one another if that's gonna be the case. So Valerie and I text, but we call each other too, so it's a little bit of both. Melissa and I will text like plans to each other, but typically we call each other. I was talking to her and Jason tonight on the phone about some plans and stuff for the future. Okay, so what else? Do you know, I was seeing all this stuff online and people were saying don't travel right now and flights are getting canceled left and right and flying is horrible. And then this friend of ours, she and one of her girlfriends went to Miami. They left yesterday. I think they left yesterday. Yeah, because then I saw the pictures afterwards. And I think they left Saturday night or Sunday night, like late at night. Like they took the red eye to Miami. Not the red eye maybe, but like the 8 o'clock flight or something like that. And they took a picture of themselves on the plane, and they were like the only ones. And they were literally, and I think they flew like Delta or something, or American Airlines. I mean, it was like a major airline like that. They were like the only 2. There were like, you could see there was like 2 people behind them, and there was like, and it was one of those like row, you know, where it's like 3, 5, 3 across, and there was like nobody on this plane, and I was like, this is crazy. Like I thought everybody was saying right now that like flights were being canceled. I had a friend of mine that she lives in like Laguna Beach area, and she and her husband were here for Christmas, and she literally like Delta canceled like 5 of their flights, and it would say like canceled, rescheduled for like 7, and then canceled, rescheduled for 8:30, canceled, rescheduled for like 10, canceled, rescheduled, and it like they canceled it like all day, and finally they got out. But she was like, don't travel right now if you don't have to, because these airlines are canceling flights left and right. Well, I wonder if it's because nobody's traveling right now. I don't know. I feel like I see a lot on social media, like people traveling. So I know that people are traveling. I don't know. Because when I say that, I know that there's going to be people that are going to be like, Peter, like, nobody's traveling right now. But there are people, I know people that are traveling. I know a lot of, I've seen it on, not just on Facebook, not just like people that I know in real life. I've seen it like on Instagram and Twitter, and you know, people are traveling from here to there and wherever. So anyway, I don't know. What are your goals for 2022? I always do like big dream goals. I have like one or two. And then I break my goals down into other areas. Like I'll do like a sobriety goal, like an emotional goal, like a physical goal, like, you know, health goal, house goal, money goal, relationship goal, things like that. I break it down. And I usually try to have like one for each of those things. And I don't try to like overwhelm myself with like, I'm going to change all of these things in the next year, you know. And I'm going to be so goal driven that everything in my life is going to change. I mean, that's just not realistic, right? So. Chick-fil-A. This Chick-fil-A right here has 2 lanes, and they wrap all the way around the building. And I mean to tell you, like from the time that they open to the time that they close, they're packed, completely packed. Do you ever crave like the strangest things? Like, I don't know why, but I'm kind of craving Mexican food right now. And I think it's because Alex was eating those burritos earlier. I used to love those really cheap, like, they were like this big. Do you guys remember them? They were always like in the bottom of the freezer department, like right by the pizzas. And just super generic looking. And they were like beef and bean, bean and rice, bean and cheese, beef and cheese. They were real cheap. They were like 99 cents a burrito. Those are like my favorite burritos in the whole world. But they're not good in the microwave. Like Alex always puts them in the microwave. I only like those burritos when you put them in the oven. I don't like them in the microwave. I still haven't figured out what's different with this camera yet tonight. I don't know. Oh well. Get organized. That's one of the things. That's one of my goals for 2022. The next thing I have to do is the drawers in the kitchen. Well, this is all just one area of the kitchen. The rest of the kitchen is like organized. Like all of our kitchen is organized except for this one corner. Now the cabinets, the upper cabinets are cleaned out, and now I have to do the drawers and then the cabinets underneath it, which is going to be hard because there's like stuff in there. It's like dishes of my mom's and stuff like that. But I also have like just thrown a bunch of stuff on top of there through the years, so I've got to go through there. There's that. The bottom of our pantry I need to clean out, and then which is just like one section. That won't take very long at all. And then the other area is this one kind of corner thing that we have, and it's where we keep like our cookie sheets and vases and stuff like that. And But Alex used to keep his George Foreman grill down there, and we don't keep it there anymore because it's the new one that he has is like too big, so he just keeps it on the counter. But yeah, that doesn't, like, that's not a necessity. And then once I clean that out, that stuff in the kitchen out, I want to go through all the books on the bookshelves, all the books that I have underneath cabinets and stuff, because I have some underneath this cabinet. We have like a bar sink in our living room. Okay, you guys, that was really weird. So this is my brand new battery right here, and it was fully charged. I just took it out of the charger, and it died at like 45 minutes. And it's super, super hot. So I don't know what that's about. It might be the setting on the camera. I'll have to check that when I get home. And it's hot. It's hot tamales in this car. But anyway, and I had to pull into this. It just like, all of a sudden it just stopped and went beep, 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 beep. So I didn't even know it was at the end of the battery. So I pulled into this, pulled off the road and pulled into this like office area in here. So anyway, we have this bar sink in our living room. It's like this, I don't know if you guys have seen it in videos or not. It's just like this little bar sink area. And then above it is where we keep a lot of candles. And below it, like where the, you can open it, but there's like the pipes from the sink there. And there is, I guess I could turn the heat down, that might help, since I have it on 80. It's like with the window open, it gets too cold, but then with the window closed, it's like too hot. Underneath there, I have probably, I'm not even exaggerating, 40 plus 50 books, paperbacks, packed underneath there. And I need to go through there and decide which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to donate. And I need to just really like get rid of these books. And so once I do that, then, oh, and then I also have this table where the record player is, and all of my graphic novels, and Alex has got a bunch of stuff over there for work. Once we go through that and the cabinet, like the armoire thing, the secretary, well, it's not an armoire, the secretary desk, then I'm gonna take all that stuff to the basement, and then I am going to, and that, I could have that done. I mean, that's the bookshelf stuff is gonna take some time. I mean, that could be, I don't even really know that I want to get rid of the books that are on the bookshelf because I don't want the bookshelf to look empty, if that makes sense. But that could take me to the beginning or middle of February, because I mean, I'm not going to do that like every night. Like, I'm not going to sit there every night and go through all that. I also have to go through my closet upstairs with all the clothes. But once I get that stuff done, then I'm going to start like really working hard on the basement and taking like 2 days a week to just give it like an hour each day and just really just go through stuff and bag up stuff to donate. And I've got, I've got it all organized into different areas in the basement of like, books, clothes, this, that. But then I also have a bunch of stuff. It's like all high school stuff. And I have to go through there and be like, okay, do I want to throw these notes out? Do I want to keep for my world famous memoir that I'm going to write someday? Do I want to get rid of this? Do I want to get rid of that? We have a couple rugs in the basement that my mom had in the house when I was growing up, and she had it the condo too, that Alex and I pulled up when we like put down wood floors and stuff like that. She had them over carpet, but we didn't want them anymore. And Alex thought they were like, I love the carpets, but Alex thinks that they just, are really look dated and stuff like that. So I asked Caroline, I was like, do you want these rugs? I said, you might have to get them dry cleaned. She's like, yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna give those to Caroline, which will make my mom happy. I actually was talking to David at Christmas, and I was talking to him about like pictures and all this kind of stuff, and he's really more interested in his like Poppy's side of the family, which was my Uncle Dave, but he is interested in my mom and my aunt's side of the family too. And I was like, I don't know who to give this stuff to, David, like books that I had when I was a kid and stuff like that. And he was like, well, if you want to box up like the things you don't want to throw away, I mean, really, probably if I put it all together, it would just be like one box of stuff of like my mom's, my aunt's, all that kind of stuff. I have their dolls and stuff from when they were little girls. They're creepy, those dolls. I don't like them. They're weird, just bizarre dolls. scary dolls, but anyway, he was like, but then I have other stuff. I have like pictures and all kinds of stuff, and he was like, yeah, I would love that. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna box all that up and give him that. So at least there's somebody that can hand that stuff down to, you know. And he was talking about how much that stuff meant to him, and he likes to, you know, have it and whatever. So I was like, okay. I mean, I don't want to give it all up now, but at least I know that that's somebody, when I'm not here anymore, will want that stuff, you know, which is kind of nice. So yeah, so but I need to go through that basement, because the first thing that we're going to do in our house is our basement. We're going to get the basement finished and get drywall put up, and, you know, have it like segmented off, and have a bathroom put down there, full bathroom, and have the, I mean, it's all open right now and cement, and it's like nothing is finished. And so like our washer and dryer is down there, but it's just like right when you walk in, and it's like on cement. So we want to get that all like closed off. We want to have the staircase come down a different way. And then when we get that done, we'll have a laundry room and a bathroom. And plus we'll have an area down there where people can like stay, like a bedroom. And then I would have like a little studio and desk down there, so I could just work in the basement. And then I could work down there when they were doing the rest of the house. That's what our plan is. Caroline suggested that. She was like, that's what you should do, is get the basement done first. And she's like, plus you guys could, while they're doing the bathroom upstairs, you'd have a bathroom downstairs. She was like, you know, you don't have that right now. We don't have a full bathroom anywhere else, just in the bedroom. And she was like, you guys could even sleep down there. The dogs could be down there, you know. She's like, it wouldn't distract from your life while they're working on the rest of the house. And Alex was like, you don't think that it would be super loud and Peter couldn't get anything done at the house? And I'm like, well, I do have, you know, the office too, which Melissa and I are going to use for the podcast, but I don't use that office for anything. It's just, I pay rent on it every month. It just sits there. So, but we're going to use it for the podcast, because it's like perfect for that. And then I was like, you know, I mean, I can set up a studio over there while we're doing stuff on the house, and I can just go over there during the day and boom, 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 you know, and film all of my videos in a row, and then come home. And because the stuff that I have to do from home is like the, you know, rendering it, and I just need a quiet space to film it. I mean, I can work in loudness if I'm just like rendering. I can put my headphones on and listen to some music or something. Well, I mean, I do that sometimes when Alex is home anyway, if he's watching a TV show. Like tonight I was putting some stuff together and he was watching something on TV, and I just put my headphones on and was listening to something while he was doing all that. I was watching some documentary. Oh man, some documentary on Pride Central, which is a YouTube channel that does a lot of like gay videos, and like there were some historical like documentaries and things like that. Not, I mean, super historical, but they were interesting. So I was looking through there. There was a short movie that I saw years ago. I found it one time. I think it's on YouTube. It's called Surrender Dorothy. But it was like these 3 short movies, and they were nominated for something. And I don't remember what the other 2 were called, but one was like this lifeguard in a swimming pool. I don't think that was Surrender Dorothy though. But there was like another one, and I remember my friend and I watching these short movies, and they were really good, and I've like wanted to watch them ever since. And but I don't remember what the other 2 were called. I can remember he had them like on the cover of, it was like a DVD, and on like the cover of it was like the main one that was like longer. It was like 45 minutes or an hour or something, and it was called, I think it was Surrender Dorothy, and on the back it had like the other 2 movies. I don't know how he got it. Somebody gave it to him or something, and we watched them, and I remember they were all 3 of them like really, really good. There's a lot of that kind of stuff on YouTube. Some lip balm. I've got to order some more of this. I think I might have one more tube of this, but I don't even know about that. No, I just hit the end of it. But it's real doable to like have the stuff get, have our house get redone and whatever. I feel like we've put it off forever. People always ask me, they're like, number one, like, have you found a place in Florida? Yeah, I love when like I get this question. Like, if we got a place in Florida, do you think I wouldn't be talking about it more? I would be so excited about it. But the two questions that I get a lot are like, have you gotten a place in Florida yet? And why haven't you done the remodel on your house? Well, both of those things are quite expensive. And we're saving money to do it the way that we want to do it. It's those things are expensive. It's not just like you just go, okay, I'm buying a house in Florida. Yes, we have savings, but I don't have that kind of savings that I wish I could. And I don't want to be indebted into some really expensive mortgage for the next 30 years for a second home in Florida. I just don't want that. And neither does my husband. As far as the redo on the house, we had decided that we wanted a certain amount saved just for that project before we started it. And we're there, but we're also like not sure, like we need to talk to some contractors, and there was like one that was redone in our neighborhood, and we really want to talk to the contractor because he did a really nice job on the condo. And so yeah, and then just like time gets away from you and stuff, Oh man. I always look off into the woods at night and I wonder like how many animals are out there, where they're living and stuff like that. They say that deer live in nests, but have you ever seen a deer's nest? I've never seen a deer's nest. I don't even know. I always do this. I always leave the bag open and then it rolls onto the floor and then everything comes out of it. Problems with having a purse, right? I'd like to see what a deer's nest looks like. I think that would be kind of fun to see. I mean, not just a picture. I could look up a picture. But I would like to see it in, like, real life, Wouldn't that be so fun? I guess this holiday blend from Starbucks isn't that bad. I don't love it, but my favorite coffee of the season was that Barney's White Christmas, which I still have a whole box of it left. I think I have like 25 or 30 of those K-Cups. I'm trying to save them. I have two more. I took 2 or 3. I think 3 maybe, actually. I took them out tonight from that advent calendar that I bought. It's like impossible to get the K-Cups out of there. I had to like rip it apart to get them out of there. I have a Mary Mocha. I don't know what the other one, something mint. I didn't love those. They were just real basic. They were okay. It was fun to have an advent calendar that had coffee in it, but I wish it had been more of like, I don't know why Starbucks doesn't do something like that. That would be so smart for them to do. For Starbucks to put together like an advent calendar, Don't you think? I think people would buy that. I would buy that. Starbucks seems like they don't really like a lot of like new ideas, it's like they come out with like 3 holiday drinks, 2 of them they've already done, so they really are only coming out with 1 holiday drink, 1 new food item, and that's all they do for like 4 months. Dunkin' Donuts puts out I should drive through Dunkin' Donuts since I'm right up here. They put new things out all the time. I should drive through up here and see what Dunkin' Donuts. I'm sure they have something new. I feel like every time I go to Dunkin' Donuts, they have something new. And I haven't been there for a while, so maybe they do have something. go through this Dunkin' Donuts and see what they have. They have all the lights and stuff turned off here. They don't usually have all the lights turned off at Dunkin' Donuts. They usually keep the lights on. Their Christmas lights on still. Dunkin' Donuts, here we are. A big Christmas tree up in there and everything. Why am I rolling down the window just to like look at the Dunkin' Donuts sign? I don't know. Oh, they have it turned off so you can't even see because it's all like automated, see? Well, you can't really see what they have, so. Well, we can forget about that, I guess. That was a good idea, though. I just was looking on their press release the other day and I didn't see anything that they had. I do, though, while I'm over here, I do want to look and see what a deer's nest looks like. I was charging my phone and it's almost totally charged. Deer nest. Oh no, it said deer meat. Let's autocorrect. Deer nest. They're just like sleeping on the ground in big high grasses and areas by trees and stuff like that. Where do deer sleep? I pulled it up. When the temperature drops, deer often take shelter sleeping under coniferous trees like pine trees. The dense low branches of these trees both protect the deer from wind and falling snow while creating a makeshift roof that holds in heat. Do you want to know what's so cute about that? Okay. So on the street that Tanya lives, there is, well, I mean, there's lots of big pine trees. I mean, it's kind of Indiana, right? But there's this huge pine tree that sits like right in between two houses, like that they just built. And so it's like right on the edge. And it's like this big pine. It's beautiful. It looks like just like a Christmas tree, right? And underneath it is like pine needles that just like are sitting there. And then there was like last year, was it last year? I think it was last year. There was like snow all around it, but it didn't touch the needles. And Tanya and I would drive by. I mean, this was more than one night. We would drive by and there was like this big deer that was just like sitting underneath the tree. Like, I mean, like literally like 5-10 feet from the road, right? From the street. And it was just sitting there sleeping underneath this tree. Like, well, it wasn't sleeping. It had its head up on these pine needles. So there, point proven. Isn't that sweet, though? I think that's sweet. I like to imagine that they sleep in these big nests. Because I always like to imagine that Boo Radley and Tucker go and stay with the deers. They're good friends with the deers, you know. Oh, my. Tanya's always like, I'm driving by Planet Fitness. She's always like, you should join Planet Fitness. I know so many people that work there or work out there. And she's like, and it's open 24 hours. I'm like, Planet Fitness is not open 24 hours, Tanya. Here, just for factual evidence right here. Closed. She's like, yes, it is. You can go into Planet Fitness anytime you want. I go, no, it's not open 24 hours. Not open 24 hours. I used to work out at this gym called Snap Fitness. Snap Fitness. I loved it. Snap Fitness. Snap Fitness. And it was like a really small gym. But it had like 2 treadmills or 3 treadmills or something like that. And then like all this weight equipment. This was like when I was really working out and getting healthy. This was when my ex and I broke up before my mom passed away. Well, I mean, even after that too. I was at the gym like every day. I was at the gym and I was eating really healthy, and I was actually eating a lot of like Whole Foods food, and I would go to Whole Foods and I would spend like $30 and I would buy, but it was like I was eating like orzo salad and couscous, and that year I became a vegetarian, and I was like, a lot of things I was eating were not super healthy, but I would go to the deli and I would get things from there, but then I would get like an egg salad sandwich every once in a while. Whole Foods had really good egg salad sandwiches. Interestingly enough, I don't go to Whole Foods a whole lot anymore. I think they're kind of really expensive. Well, I mean, that's why people call them whole paycheck, but they are really expensive, but their food is really, really good. And I would get their food from the deli section. and it was delicious. But like I never had any left. Like I remember they had these things that were like corn patties. They looked like you would just heat them up in the microwave. They looked like vegetarian like hamburger patties. They were like this big and they were like this round, but they were just like corn fritter patties or something like that. They were so good. I mean, the stuff that I was eating wasn't necessarily like the healthiest stuff, but it was better than fast food, you know? And I was working out every day. So I was doing like an hour of cardio and lifting weights like 7 days a week. I mean, I was pretty manic about it. I felt great though. And I don't really remember my sleep pattern. You know, like I was just talking about this on here the other night. Like for so much of my life, like I really only needed like 6 to 7 hours of sleep, 7 max. And I mean, I survived for very long periods of time just getting 6 hours of sleep. I can't do that today. Like I need a lot more sleep than that today. And I don't really know when that changed for me. But it did. So yeah. Dream. I remember that. And that was when I was single. And my friend and I would do the crossword every day. I actually bought a paper. I have it in the back of the car here. I was going to do the crossword the other day, and I never ended up doing it. But my friend and I would do the crossword every day. And then I would work out. And I was going out a lot with a friend of mine that she still lived here, but she's moved away since. You know, I think about that sometimes, like, I mean, God forbid Alex and I ever break up, but I don't really know. I mean, I guess my life wouldn't look a whole lot different, right? You know, but like, I can remember my mom, well, you know, she got sober at 51, so when she was my age, she had been single for a while, and she just always really struggled, like, finding people or meeting people, and, you know, she'd get so frustrated. She'd say, I just don't like, you know, nobody ever introduces me to any men that, you know, are somebody that's anybody that I would want to date or whatever, and, you know, I did feel bad for her, but I would say, you need to go out and meet people, go do this, go do that, you know, and she'd say, you make it sound like it's so easy. It's not that easy, and I don't know, I guess I thought it was kind of easy, but, you know, I have thought about that with, like, Alex and I, like, well, first of all, when we go out, well, we went to that Martini's when our friend was visiting from Denver, but, which is, like, I guess it's like a gay bar, kind of, I don't know, I thought it started off as a gay bar. I mean, there were gay people there, but there were gay guys there, but it seemed very, like, a mixed crowd to me. You know, when I met Alex, there were like several gay bars in Indianapolis that were just thriving, and that's just not the case anymore. I don't really know, like, I'm not, you do you, like, it's so funny how many times my picture gets used on these social media apps. I mean, you guys, it's like daily that I get sent this stuff from people, and that people will be like, is this really you, or this is somebody's fake account, and, you know, they're in Chicago, or they're in, you know, Texas, and they're using your name, or they say they work on an oil rig, and, you know, they're drilling oil, and they're going to be home in 2 weeks, can I send them $500? I'm like, don't send them any money, I'm sorry, you know, it's me. I've had, like, people's kids, and grandkids, and nieces and nephews reach out to me and be like, somebody's using your picture on this website, this dating app, or on Facebook, even on Facebook. And, you know, my mom has been talking to them, and I even showed her your videos, and they don't believe that it's the same person. And I'm like, well, it's literally the pictures I have posted. They take them right off my Instagram, you know. Some accounts have even used pictures of our dogs. And I know some people would get so upset about it and be like, I can't believe this. And it is annoying to me, but it's just like, whatever. What I feel bad about is that people are using my pictures to scam people. Then what's interesting is I get people that get mad at me. Like, they think they think it's me doing it. Not that somebody's stealing my pictures. They think it's me, like, right? Like, and that I'm just using a pseudonym out here and I'm trying to trick women or something like that and saying that I want to date them and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I have got too many things going on in my life. And I usually just send real nice messages and I'm like, hey, I'm really, really sorry this is going on. No, that's not me. You know, whatever. Can you block them or report it or whatever? I usually just ask people that, you know. And then, like, a couple of times I've had this one girl, she reached out to me and was like her aunt, her great aunt, or her mom or grandma or something like that, like refused, even like showing her my Instagram, refused to believe that it was me. When my picture was like he had taken it straight off my Instagram, and she showed it, and she was like, no, that person's a fake. I don't know who that, and she's like, he's a YouTuber, like he makes YouTube videos, like here they are. And she's like, no, I don't believe it. Because they had been like having this conversation for so long. And so she's like, can you send me a message? This was like through Twitter. She was like, because, you know, like, send me a message on Twitter that is from you saying that that's, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I sent her this message. I felt so bad for her. And because she was sending money to this guy. This guy was like, I'm going to be in, like, I think in California or something. And she was like, and this girl was like afraid for her mom and whoever it was, grandma or something. And she was like, I said, don't send him any money. I said, he's scamming you. He's using my pictures for faking it, whatever. And she finally believed it then. But anyway, like, but that's whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't interact with many gay guys. Like, I mean, I have a couple people on YouTube that are gay that I talk to, you know, a couple friends of mine on YouTube that are gay that I talk to. But I don't have that many, I don't really have any gay friends in Indianapolis. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 in recovery. I mean, I know gay guys that are in recovery in Indianapolis, but I only know like 2 or 3 that I would consider close. And those guys, I wouldn't call up and be like, hey, do you want to go hang out? Like, I don't really have anybody like that in Indianapolis. Any gay guys that I would like pick up the phone and be like, hey, do you want to go out and do something? So I don't know what I would do if, like, Alex and I broke up. Like, I don't know how I would meet people because I don't want to get on social media apps. Although I tell my girlfriends to. I'm always like, you know, well, I mean, I feel like eHarmony and that kind of stuff. Like, I always tell my girlfriends, if you're going to do it and you can afford it, spend the extra money for like 2 months. Just say I'm going to do it for 2 months and then pay the extra to do the, like, the premium versions of like eHarmony or whatever those are called. Because I've actually known people that have met, like, they've met like good people on those apps, you know? Because I think that people today don't really know where to meet other people. But back in the day, you go out to a bar, thought somebody was cute, give them your number, get their number, whatever. You know, that doesn't happen today. If it does, I don't know where, I mean, maybe, but, you know, I feel like people go out and they stick together. And, I mean, even, you know, this is, I would say, the last 5-10 years this has been this way, that people don't really meet that way anymore. I don't know how I would meet somebody. I've kind of like resigned myself to the fact that if Alex and I ever broke up, I would just be single for the rest of my life. Like, I wouldn't mind that. I'd have 6 dogs and, you know, I'd put on a movie every night before I went to bed, and I'd be sad, you know, that Alex and I didn't make it. But down the road, I mean, once you get through the pain and the hardship of all of that, it's like, okay, you have to allow yourself to have a life that goes on. I don't know. I like being in a relationship, and I like being married, and I like being married to my husband, so I hope that I never have to cross that bridge. And, you know, I like having him in my life, so I hope that that never happens. But Alex and I have actually talked about that. He's like, I don't know. He's like, you know, I don't have any really gay friends here in town either. And I mean, all of our friends that are gay, like, have either moved away, or, like, I would say 80% of them have moved away, 90% of them, or A, or B, they don't do anything social anymore whatsoever, or C, they're in relationships and or have moved away. So it's like, you know, I'm sitting here trying to think, like, is there anybody around here that, like, I talk to on a regular basis that's gay that I'm like forgetting. That is one thing that, I mean, Alex and I have talked about, that when we get a place in Florida, like, I want to get more involved in LGBT recovery there. Because I never really did it stopped. But I never really did here in Indianapolis get involved in LGBT recovery. I mean, I did. I went to some gay men's meetings when I first got sober, and LGBT meetings and stuff like that. Well, first of all, most of them downtown. And there wasn't really that big of a group. And when I first got sober, you know, I would go to a meeting and it would be like 5, 6 gay guys that were like in their late 50s, early 60s. And they were, several of them, closeted married men. And that was not my story. And I just didn't relate to that. You know, they're very nice. I will say I went to some meetings that were kind of meat market-ish, you know, where it was all about like hooking up and stuff like that. But today, Indianapolis has a thriving LGBT recovery community, and you know, I could go down there and be part of it tomorrow. I haven't. That's not where I found my foundation in recovery, you know. And so, you know, I have friends of mine that go, and I know people that do, and are part of all of that, which is amazing. And I don't know. I think there's a fear associated with it for me about going. I mean, if I had somebody that was like, come on, we're going to start going to these meetings, like, that would be one thing. But there's like a fear associated that I have that, like, I don't know them. And, you know, that's where my social anxiety kicks in. That I really, really wish I had, you know, a group of gay, sober guy friends, you know. I mean, I see the pictures because I'm friends with some of them, you know. They all go to Palm Springs for a weekend, you know, or Florida, or they'll go to a convention because there's, you know, LGBT or gay men's, like, sobriety conventions and stuff. And I think that would be fun. I would love to have a group like that, but I don't, you know. And that was my own choices through the years of not participating in that, you know, and always going to mixed meetings, which is fine. You know, I will say that I felt on the outside a lot going to mixed meetings, or where anybody goes, right? But I did feel like on the outside for a long time going to, I'm like really telling on myself tonight about this. I don't know if I've ever really said all this on here before. I mean, my friends in my real life know about all this, but yeah, I feel like, you know, I had a friend of mine several years ago that passed away. He and I were really, really close. I've talked about him on here before. And, you know, there were a lot of guys from gay men's meetings that were there, you know, at his funeral. And they were so nice to me. And they were like, you know, we would love to have your experience, strength, and hope. And we would love for you to start coming. And I was like, thanks. And, I mean, they were like, most of them were like, I mean, Peter, you, like, have been sober longer than most of these meetings have even been around. Like, we would love for you to be there, you know. And a lot of these guys I knew from going out back in the day, and they've since gotten sober and whatever. And I know that they would, you know, welcome me with open arms. I think it just scares me. I just don't. It scares me, you know. I don't think people really get how bad my social anxiety is. You know, that there is something that I would like to have in my life. You know, that I would like to have a group of sober gay male friends. And I don't allow myself to have that because I'm too terrified of going into a group of people that I don't know. Like, that scares me. It's not just gay men's meetings. There's a lot of meetings in Indianapolis that I would never, you know, like if Tanya said, let's go, I'd go with her. I would still be super, super nervous. Even like if Tanya and I have gone to a lot of meetings that we had never been to before. I remember this one meeting, in fact, that we went with another friend of ours, and Tanya had really heard good things about this meeting, and I knew several people at this meeting, and it was a huge meeting. It was a really great meeting. I was a nervous wreck that whole meeting. I was like, I mean, I didn't know anybody. I was like, I just don't think people really get how bad my social anxiety is and how scared I get about things like that, you know? And, I mean, it really is a barrier to me enjoying fully my life. And, so anyway, you know, my sponsor, you know, she'll go to any meeting in the world. She doesn't care. I mean, she's told me, because we've talked about the gay men's meeting, she's like, Peter, if you want to go, I'll go with you. You know, because, I mean, you can't, like, just because they're gay men's meetings, nobody's excluded. You can't tell somebody not to go. And she's like, if you want me to go, I'll go with you. She's like, I don't mind. She's like, for you to get, like, you know, and I think it's so sweet, right? But I'm like, I also don't want to go at 49 years old with my hand held. I'm almost about to start crying, you guys, right now, because, like, this is something that, like, I really, like... I know it's so silly, but there have been moments in recovery where I have felt very, very much alone, you know, because, like, the majority of my friends in sobriety, I mean, my close friends are, not the majority, all of my close friends in sobriety are women. And, you know, there's a camaraderie between them that I didn't have. And so even though they're my closest friends and I'm standing there talking to them after meetings and stuff like that, I just always, you know, and I would go to my meetings and, you know, guys would be talking about how they went on double dates with their wives, or, you know, everybody went golfing. Oh, the 4 guys went golfing. And I was never part of that. And I always felt very left out of that. And that was my fault. You know, that was my own doing. I could have asked people to do things, and I could have asked people to go on double dates, and they would have. And it was only after I came back in that I started really putting my hand out and getting to know people and making some just really genuine connections. But I still felt on the outside looking in. I have felt like I was on the outside looking in my entire life, whatever situation, not just recovery. I've always felt on the outside looking in. And that can even be said for when I'm in a group of 5 of my closest female friends. You know, there's obviously something there that I'm not, and that I realize that there's a connection there that I don't have. You know, no matter how included they make me feel, you know, no matter how inclusive they are to my situation, I still don't feel part of that to some degree, you know. And I just have, I mean, I've seen guys come in that, like, have 3 months sober and go to gay men's meetings, and they have, like, they are just so, like, brought into the circle, and I have not had that because I have stood in the way of my own happiness when it comes to that. And my attitude is kind of like, to go back to me saying when I go to Florida, is, you know, at 27 years, I'm not going to just walk in and be like, hey guys, how are you? You know? I could, and I should. And maybe that will be one of my goals for this year, you know? Maybe one of my goals for this year will be starting to go to gay meetings. Some gay meetings, I don't know. There's also a whole subject about singularity of purpose, but that has nothing really to do with this whole topic, because this topic is really about me wishing I had gay friends, you know? And I know people are like, well, why does it make a difference if your friends... I know it sounds stupid to say, well, why does it make a difference if you have a gay male friend or a straight male friend? It doesn't. It doesn't. There's no difference to it, right? But I think there are situations and there are times that you just want to have somebody to talk to that gets where you're coming from completely, you know? No, obviously, I'm so entirely thankful for the women that I have had in my life. If it weren't for women, I would have lived just an absolutely lonely life, period. You know, my entire life, my friends have been women, period. End of story. I'm extremely grateful for them, you know? And there was a period where I had like 3 gay guy friends. The 4 of us were really, really close, and everybody moved, you know? I think, like, even on YouTube, there's a bit of that. Like, I see, not really within, like, the drama community, But I'm talking about, like, with, like, the bigger name. Well, most of them are younger than me anyway, you know, by, like, a good 10, 15 years. But there's, like, this group, you know, of, like, gay guys that make YouTube videos or used to make YouTube videos, or, you know, some of them are friends with gay writers, or, you know, they're friends with, like, gay actors in Hollywood now. It's like they all kind of, like, there's, like, that circle, you know, and it's like, I feel like I missed my group to some degree, like, because I always kind of believed it doesn't really matter. I didn't have that, and now I look, and, you know, I am somebody that likes to watch movies that are about, you know, like, have gay characters in them, and RuPaul's I mean, I like all that, and that's not just gay stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I do think it's important for me to be, there is, I mean, to some degree, there is, I do like gay culture, and I'm a gay man, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want to have at least some gay people in my life, you know what I mean? But I don't. The other thing that I've experienced, two things, is that, number one, the gay community can be very cliquey. And it's like, if you aren't kind of in this group, then you're not in this group. Indianapolis for a long time was very much like that. I never really played to that, so I didn't really care, you know, and people were nice to me, but I noticed I didn't get invited to the parties, you know, or the ski trips or whatever. I think the other thing is, I think that, and I'm making a generalization here, but it's been my experience that I have met a lot of gay men that struggle just having friendships with other gay men without sex coming into play. And somebody is texting me, I don't know who. And, you know, in fact, years ago, I was talking to a very dear friend of mine, and we were talking about, I don't even know how it came up, but he said something about sleeping with one of our other friends, and I was like, what are you didn't sleep with him? And he goes, I most certainly did. I was like, when? And he was like, a lot. And I go, he's like one of our closest friends. And he was like, yeah, and like, after you would go home, when we went out, like, we'd hook up. And I go, but you guys never dated each other. He goes, no, it was just for sex, or just to get off. And that was really, like, never my attitude, and I think people knew that, like, I either, like I've said on here, it's not like I didn't have one-night stands, but, like, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to date somebody, and I'd rather go home and just go to sleep and have, you know, eat food or something like that and get a good night's sleep than, you know, I didn't really care about all that. Well, I guess there was probably a lot more of that going on than I ever knew about, because what I found out later was that a lot of my guy friends were hooking up with each other, you know? And nobody ever hit on me, and nobody ever asked. So I just, you know, I look at that in retrospect and I think, well, so yeah, I think that's part of it, is that, like, I think sometimes gay guys don't know how to have friendships with other gay men. Not all of them. I'm generalizing this when I say this, but this is my experience. This is my opinion. It's my experience, you know, that a lot of gay guys don't know how to have just friendships with other. I think my husband even struggled with that for a while, you know, like, my husband had like 4 close friends in college that he was real close with. And I think the way that he became friends with like 2 of them was that they, like, those are like his diehard friends to this day. These 3 guy friends. Well, I mean, Sarah is always going to be like his closest friend of life forever and ever, amen. But And he's got some other really good girlfriends. But most of the way that my husband met some of his close guy friends was because they hooked up. And then they decided they were going to be friends later. I guess my friend that is a doctor, like, that's how he and I became friends. But we went on a date first and then hooked up and then realized that we weren't good for each other. I don't know. Doesn't sex confuse things? But I have to tell you, there was a couple of my friends in retrospect that I look back on and I'm kind of like, God, I wish we had screwed. You know, you were cute. You really were. And I kind of had a crush on you, even though you were my friend. I feel like I sound like my mom the older and older I get, you know. I was talking to my cousin Caroline about this because we were saying that, like, I don't feel like a prude at all. Like, I'm somebody that's pretty open, you know, about all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, hey, let's you know, do what you want. Well, let's do what'll make you happy kind of thing, you know. But at the same time, it's like, I look back on my life and I think maybe people thought I was more than I was or something. I don't know. I've, like, literally never had a friend look at me and just be like, do you want to hook up? Like, never. Well, maybe once. I looked at him. It was such a disaster. Well, 2 times. 2 times. Both times were disasters. That's why you don't do it, right? God. And then what do we call those? Just like booty, I guess we just call those booty calls. Like, I've never had that person that you just call up and hook up with. Because, see, I have this thing called feelings, and I catch feelings for people real quick, right? So if we're, like, hooking up and we're kissing, like, I don't understand how you kiss somebody. Well, I mean, I have been my fair share of being, like, this conversation has gone way weird, hasn't it? But I've had my fair share of being, like, drunk and then just, like, kissing girlfriends and stuff like that. I used to do that back in the day with no feelings. But I don't really understand how you're sober and you're having sex and you're kissing somebody and you're that intimate with, and you, I mean, I understand, like, sex for sex value. I've had it, okay, and kissing and all that kind of stuff. But if you're doing it on a regular, if you're kissing the same person, is this a stupid question? If you're kissing the same person on a regular basis and doing the deed and stuff, don't you think you'd sooner or later, I mean, okay, you're already doing all that with them. So basically what you're saying is you're a dud. I don't want anything to do with you because emotionally and spiritually and intellectually you're a bore, but you're great to hook up with. That must be what it is. I don't know, because I catch feelings for people real quick. So I'd want to hook up. I mean, if I'm hooking up with you already and we're kissing and you're a good kisser too and we're doing this like at least once a week, yeah, I'm going to want to date you. Like, if you've got anything going on, sense of humor, intellectually, anything, right? Like, you're a good person. I have dated some people in my life that were not the sharpest knives in the drawer. So I don't even really care how bright you are. But if you make me laugh and you're kind to me and you're cute too and you have a nice butt, like, why are we not dating? Like, I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't understand it. And yet I have friends of mine that are, like, the most promiscuous people. Well, not friends that live here, because if I did, then I wouldn't be saying I didn't have any gay friends. But I have gay friends of mine that literally have never been with, like, in a long-term relationship ever. And they're, like, my age, and they look fine as hell. And they have, like, they hook up with people all the time. And I'm like, you don't want a relationship though? They're almost kind of scared of a relationship or something. Like, they don't want to be tied down too much because then they couldn't, like, you know, do this and do that. I don't know. It's just all so weird to me, I guess. Well, thank you for allowing me to talk and help solve the problems of the world and Peter Monn's problems of the world, solving problems, puzzles, not problems, puzzles. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here now and I'm gonna listen to my audiobook and hopefully make a real dent into the very end of it that I have. Maybe finish it, I don't know, we'll see. And then I am also going to listen to a little bit of the podcast too. So, am I listen to the podcast first and then the book. We'll see. Anyway, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you are having a magically amazing Tuesday. I love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.